Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we're going to be publishing our first NPM package in three different ways. So one way as the npx script, if you're familiar with Create React App, something similar to that, or a regular package where you can import your modules and use it, and also with TypeScript definitions, and that's really all there is to package uploading. So if you're interested, stick around and I'll see you soon. Alright, so welcome back. So we're going to structure this in a very basic way, in a way we can all understand. First of all, let me show you what I have in terms of executable versions or node versions. So we have node 14.17.2. We have yarn. Actually, I'm not going to use yarn, but just for the sake of it, yarn v we have 122, and then npx-v we have 6.14. Okay, so I had a bit of trouble using yarn to publish packages. A few commands aren't really available on yarn that are available on npm, so I'm going to stick exclusively with npm. I prefer yarn for every other app creation. Okay, so let's start, right? So npm init to initialize our package. We will not do the y, and we will not do the y because I don't want to go through all the steps. So I'm going to call this package t.sum. What's going to happen is we're just going to take the sum of two numbers, and that's it, right? We're just trying to facilitate that. Version 1.0, we can add a description, adds two numbers. Entry point is index.js. We don't have a test command. We don't really have a GitHub repo. You can add this later. Keywords, you can add it later too. For author, I can just put my name and MIT license and yes. Okay, cool. So we have our package.json over here. Let's make a index.js file over here. Okay, so let me just pull up something over here. NPM. So over here, this is NPM, and before you actually start, make sure you have a NPM account so you can go over here and create your new account. I have one over here, so if you go to profiles, these are the two packages that I have, and it's really important that you have this because that's the only way you can publish it to NPM. So let's start. So we just want a simple script that adds two numbers. I do know a package that's really good at doing that. So if we go here and say, or a package that takes in command line arguments, because I really want that. So there's this minimist over here. So if I just say npm install minimist, and I also get this snippet over here and paste it. Now let's do a node index.js to tell node to run this file, and it shows me this. But if I do node index.js 1, 2, I see 1 and 2 in the array over there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to destructure those elements. So const is equal to args._. That's where all the arguments are, and I'll say num1 and num2. Pretty much that's everything. So I'll say console log the sum of the two numbers provided is, and then I'll just do string interpolation over here, num1 plus num2 over here. So now if we do node index 1 plus 2, and we do see the sum of those two numbers is 3, and we can do that with whatever number we want, and it works perfectly fine. So now we want to publish this in a way where we want to run this as an NPM executable, like a script. You know how we do npx, and then we can run any command we want. For example, server is a very popular one that I use. So serve allows you can look this up, serve allows you to quickly just set up a server on any port and just serve static files. So if I say npx -p3000, I get a server that is serving up content in this folder over here on port 3000. So that's something similar that I would want to do. One thing we also need to do is that since we're trying to run this as an npx script, we also need to tell the person that's running it what environment it needs. So we need to do a shebang. So a shebang user -bin -env, and the node executable over here. This is very important. Your script won't really work for other users. So we have that. Now we just have to go to package.json over here. We don't need a test script. We don't really need it. I'm just going to remove everything we don't need. Main is also something we don't need when it comes from an NPM standpoint. So I'm just going to replace name with bin. Bin is now super important to tell npx what script to run, and it's super crucial that it is this way. So we have that. And so now all you have to do really is done. You're done your npx script. One thing I would do is also create an npm ignore, a .npm ignore file over here, just so we can ignore the node modules over here, right? We don't. It's a big file, and we don't really need that. Okay, so we're done. So now let's try to publish this. So we say npm publish. And let's see what happens over here. It checks everything and it publishes it successfully. So it says no t.sum version 1.0.0. So now let's check my my node my npm package over here. We see that we have t.sum ready to use over here. And if I open that up, it takes me to t.sum. And there's no readme here, but if you did have a readme, it would show up over here as well, just like the same way you would have readmes on GitHub. So now let's try this out. I'm curious if this works. So t.sum, right? npx t.sum and 1 and 2. And let's see. So npx gets it, and there. See, the sum of the two numbers provided is 3. And you can do this in any directory just to prove it, right? So I'll do cd into my home directory, and I will run the same thing, t.sum 1 and 2, and we get 3. And we do 6, and we do 9, and we get 10, and all that fun stuff. So we're pulling in fresh packages, and we're using it as an NPM script. So that's how you can make that. So now let's move on to the second part. The second part, as I promised, we're going to make a package that other apps can use, right? npm install, and this is strictly for scripting reasons. We want to make an actual module that users can import. So a few things we have to do. You know how we changed this to bin, how this was bin the first time? Yeah, so we're going to get rid of that now. So we need to change this to main, right? This is telling whoever's using it that, hey, when you come into this main folder over here, the main entry point to this t.add is this main index.js. So let's save that over here, and let's go to our index.js, and we do not need this anymore. We do not need the user bin env node because we're not running it as a script. So now let's do let's make a function and let's export this function. Okay, so let's do function add t.sum, I call it. Yeah, so t.sum, and it's going to take a num1 and a num2, and all it's going to do is return num1 plus num2, right? And now we just have to do exports is equal to t.sum, right? And that's really all you need. You're exporting your module into t.sum over here, and that's about it. Okay, so just like we did last time, we have everything set up over here that we need. We can actually remove this console log as well. It doesn't really mean anything. And here's one thing that you can check what your package would actually look like. You can actually say, let me just exit this and reopen this so I can come back over here. If you say npm pack, this actually packs up your module into this compressed file over here. So now if we actually gzip this, so this command should do it. I'm running WSL Ubuntu, so this is a little bit different. So I unpack that over there, and I do have this package over here, and it does have my index.js file over here along with my package.json. So yeah, so let's actually now, this looks all good now because we got our package.json. It's pointing to index. The only difference is it doesn't have minimist, and I just realized we don't really need minimist, so let's actually get rid of that. So let me delete this. So if I say rmt.sum and rm package or rmrf, and I say npm remove minimist, and that removes our minimist from there, and that also removes our package.json because we actually don't need anything anymore, but we will soon. So let's actually keep this. All right, so that's really all we need, right? Module.exports, we're exporting this. We don't need minimist anymore. That this is just our plain and simple function. So let's do a yarn pack once more, and let's unzip this over here just to double check. Some can open file directory error, not recoverable, exiting now. Let's see what we did wrong. Okay, there we go. So it unzips it into our package, and we have our index.file over here. Okay, cool. So let's delete this. Okay, and let's delete this as well. And now let's do our npm publish, right? So now npm publish is going to complain because it has the same version and number. We have to publish an incremental version, so you do have to increment this by 1 and say npm publish, and now this should be published perfectly, and it says 1.0.1. Another thing that I want to mention is that you might have authentication issues if this is the first time you're setting up npm. So if you actually do npm add user, this is something I've done before, you need to add your username and password over here. So I'll just add this once more. My username is t.code, my password is none of your business, and then my email is this as well, hotmail.com. And then that adds and it logs you in. So this is the way you can add yourself, and now npm publish will work smoothly. Okay, so now let's bring in, let's just make sure that we have our package published. So let's actually bring this up over here, and it says t.sum has published version 1.0.1. So we have this new version ready to rock and roll. So let's actually now just make directory over here // and we will just call this the demo. And let me open this workspace over here, demo. Okay, oh, and that actually closes the old one. It doesn't matter. And now let me just do the same thing we always do, right? Npm init, this time I'll say -y, and then I'll say npm install what was it, t.sum, right? So that gets in t.sum in my node module. So if we open my node modules over here, we see t.sum, and it's exporting this. Cool. So now let's touch a new index.js file over here, and that makes that. If we go to our package.json, it's still pointing to index. What I'm just going to say this, I'm just going to make an actual script now for starting. So I'll just say start, and all this will do is node index.js file over here. So now when we say, we go over here and say console log hello, and we save this, and then we do npm start, we will see a console log hello. Okay, so now let's use our package that we just published to npm, right? So const t.sum is equal to require t.sum over here. So now if we say t.sum, and we actually get cool IntelliSense too, so we can actually put our numbers over here, 2 and 3, and what we're going to do is we're just going to just put that in over here, hello, that, and that is honestly all we need, right? So we save that and we run npm start once more, and we see hello 5. So now you notice we went from an npm script and now we made it into a module. All great things. So now let's move on and make this actually a TypeScript module that we can publish. Okay, so to make this a TypeScript module with all the lovely type definitions, we do need to set up a few things. We need to download some specific stuff. So first of all, we need to npm install TypeScript, and let's just also download tsnode. Tsnode would only be used for our dev dependencies, so it doesn't really matter. Let me do save -dev over here. Make sure this gets saved in our dev dependencies. Great. So now we can start using TypeScript. So let's just do npx tsc init. This would get our npm tsc init. The space might. Okay, I actually have tsc over here in my folder over here, which is not really what I want. I don't want it globally. I actually want to use it from my node modules over here. So if I go to TypeScript bin, and we have tsc over here. So if I say npm tsc, what do I get? Do you mean tst? Okay, so workaround for this obviously is to just point to it directly. So I'll say node modules TypeScript binary and tsc, and I'll just say init over here, and this should initialize our, what happened over here? Okay, I do not need to do npm over here since I'm pointing to the actual binary, so I can just do that. And what does this say? Okay, so if you say -- init, it actually works. So this initializes our ts config file, and this is super important. One thing we need to do, we need to make a few changes with it, very minor. So first, let's make our include over here, and we're just going to include our root folder over here. Another thing is that we also need to allow our TypeScript declarations. So over here, we actually need to uncomment declarations over here, because this generates our .ts file. Okay, all good? Stay with me now, everyone. So now, since we have lovely TypeScript with us, all we have to do is just add it in, right? So let's make this let's make this a number, and let's make this also a number, right? And that makes TypeScript pretty happy. And now we can't use module.exports anymore. The only thing that works in TypeScript is ES modules. So let's use ES modules syntax. It's doing the same thing under the hood. It's just a different syntax. So I'll say export default t.sum. We want to export this as the default for this thing. So now we also have to make a few changes here. Our main is not going to be over here anymore. It's not going to be our index.js, but let's actually figure out first what it is, and then we will change it. So let's now make a build over here. Oh wait, this is dependencies, sorry. I want to actually muck around with these scripts, and I want to make a build script over here, and all I'm calling is tsc. TSC is just going to look in the root folder for our TS config and just build everything out. Let's go over here, and our target is ES modules, which is fine. Our module syntax also, we want to export it as common JS and not something like ES modules, because a lot of out of the box templates for like Vue and React don't really transpile packages that are in Node modules. They expect it already to be compiled. So that's fine over there. We do need to point our out directory is going to be our dist folder. And then our out file, it doesn't matter. Root directory, specify root directory of input files, use control, blah, blah, doesn't really matter. The out directory is where all the fun is. So before we build, we also want to rm rf our dist folder, or let's make a new script called clean, and this will do rmrf dist and make directory -p, and it's going to just make our dist folder over here. So now all I have to do over here is say build. We'll call npm run clean and tsc. Cool. So now let's try this out. So if we do npm run build, let's see what we get. So we got our dist folder over here. If we open our dist folder, you notice that we have our index.js file over here, just transpile into the whole common JS syntax over here, and we have our type declarations here as well. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so you know how I said now main needs to change? So now it needs to change to point to our dist folder. So let's do main is pointing to our dist and index.js. Another thing is our types. We also need to point to our type definitions, which is in dist / index.d.ts. And that's essentially all we need. So let's try something right now. Let's do an npm pack. npm pack over here that builds our t.sum. And let me scroll up to when I had my unzip command over here, and let me see what we get. So t.sum that, okay. So now if we go into our package, we see now we have our dist and we have our two files over here. Honestly, you can sort of ignore this. You can add index.js in your npm ignore now, because like this is not really going to be used. We're going to focus on the dist inside. So really focus on your npm ignore what you need and what you don't need. It's super important. So now let's rmrf our package and rmrf our t dot thing over here. So now let's publish this once more. So let's now bump this up to 1.0.2 and just do npm publish. So that publishes things. Let's also go to our npm account over here, and if we see over here, we got 1.0.2. So now let's give this a run, shall we? So now we have our old version of t.sum over here. So let's just do something. npm uninstall t.sum, and that removes it from there. So now let's install it once more. So npm install t.sum. Hopefully this gets the most recent version, which it does, 1.0.2. And if we go over here, we do have our t.sum as well. Let's close this and reopen this and hover over the imports. Let's see what we have. So we're in the land of TypeScript right now. So let's actually rename this to TypeScript, and let's do import. Let's just do that from t.sum, and let's just rename this also to t.sum. So now we do t.sum, and over here we have our TypeScript definitions now. So if we do 2 and 3, it doesn't complain, but if we change this to a string, and now it complains. It's like, hey, string is not assignable to a parameter type number. So now let's put this back to what it was before. So we'll say your number is, just to make sure everything works. And now we can do our npm start. Oh yeah, because I need the TS node compiler to do all this heavy lifting. Oof, totally forgot about that. There might be some extra work I need to do to make this run. Let's see if I can do this right now. npm install TS node. And let's just go to our package.json and change this to TS node and this to index.ts. And now if we do npm start, can't find module TypeScript, npm install TypeScript. This should be the last thing, I think. Let's see. Obviously there's more types and node. Oh wow, we need this as well. So npm install this, and let's clear this because it's getting pretty ugly. And let's do an npm start. Voila, it is good. Look at that. So we have now our beautiful TypeScript definition. Again, this can be anything. This can be like some random string, and now TypeScript will complain, right? If we do an npm start, run ts node, it's like, hey, argument is type string, but it's actually type number. So this is essentially how you set up your you set up packages in your npm registry for both npx, where you can run it as a script, where it can be a regular JavaScript package without TypeScript definitions, and then also how you can generate your own TypeScript definitions if you want your package to be TypeScript friendly. And that is it. I hope everyone enjoyed this video as much as I did. Great learning experience if you want to start publishing packages. Let me know down below what package you have published from this video. I really would like to hear. But yeah, if everyone had a great video, I will see you in the next one. Show some support down there, and I'll see you then.